Hello, YouTube land. My name is Raul, and I'm going to be reviewing Chapter 6 in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. So this chapter is on imagination. So the chapter begins with going over how our brains are broadcasting and receiving stations. Illustration over here with the stick guys. And there's two forms of imagination. There's synthetic imagination and creative imagination. Synthetic imagination is when you take old concepts, ideas, and plans, kind of Frankenstein them together, put them together in a different way, and it becomes something new. So taking what exists and just mutating it with other things and bringing something new out of that. Creative imagination is original thought, like the Marconi's, radio, something new, something that comes from within, the intuition. And it gives an example. It gives an example of a story of a doctor. He comes into town, and he goes into a drugstore. And there's a young pharmacist, and he sells him a kettle with a piece of paper. And the kettle he sells it for $500, and the young pharmacist, that's his whole life savings went into buying that kettle. But he made a fortune off of that kettle. He pretty much, to condense it, he made a business, of employed tons of people, copywriters, advertisers, business people. It was a thriving business because he used imagination with the idea with the kettle. And then it just goes over to Koch brothers, Coca-Cola, how Coca-Cola started with just an idea. Now it's an empire. So kind of the concept of the chapter was turning your ideas into cash, with the use of imagination and plans of action. So it also goes over another example of a preacher, young preacher. He spent like 2 years thinking about only if he had $1 million, what he would do with it, the wonderful things he would do. And it goes more into detail, but just kind of an overview. All the wonderful things he would do with the $1 million if he had it. And he spends 2 years just, man, if I only had $1 million. After 2 years of thinking, finally just sits down and says, I'm going to get the money. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to get the money. So what he does is he goes to the newspaper and tells them he's giving a speech on if he only had, what he would do if he had $1 million. And he gives the speech, and then after the speech, I mean, he made the decision the day before, like 36 hours or so, 2 days before he gives the speech, right? He says, I'm going to get the money. He made a definite decision. He committed himself to getting the money. He didn't know how, but he was going to get it. He was tired of just thinking about it. So he went to the newspaper, put the title of the speech, what I would do if I had $1 million. So the young preacher, he gives his speech, and at the end of the speech, another minister, a more established minister, comes up to him and says, I enjoyed your speech, and I'm going to give you the $1 million. Come to my office next Monday. I'll give it to you. So long story short, goes in, gets the money. Within 36 hours of him making the decision that he was going to get the money. After 2 years of just, overthinking it. So kind of just, as soon as you get the idea, try to put it into action as soon as possible. So yeah, it was a short chapter. I did enjoy the read. Like I said, it goes into more detail. A little tired today, but definitely give the chapter a read. It says to come back after you're done with the book, reread it again. Don't get everything on the first time. So that being said, Thank you for watching. Give the videos a thumbs up and subscribe.